on a Magic 8 Lite, it's seeking to push the boundaries of what to expect from a mid-range phone. Why? Because you get a 108 megapixel main camera, you get a 7500 milliamp hour battery with 66 watts of wired charging. Up front, you get a display that peaks output at 6000 nits, and most importantly, this is probably the most durable day-to-day phone you can buy right now. And throughout this review, we're going to highlight to you why this should be a serious contender in 2026 for one of the best buys at its price point. The rear camera housing of this phone does house, as we said, a 108 megapixel sensor alongside a 5 megapixel ultra-wide. And now that main wide sensor captures some really nice, vibrant, well-balanced images here with plenty of pop and contrast. A dynamic range are both good, in line with what you expect from a mid-range phone. Even when you zoom up to 3x images, they still look good and offer a good amount of detail. Contrast and colors are also good. They may not be as detailed as you'd expect in the zooms, but they are still pretty good. The ultra-wide is the downside of the camera system. Also a 5 megapixel low res, and that does do a lot to soften images and make it not look particularly detailed. Video output here is 4K 30, and again delivers really good level of detail, colors and quality, quite similar actually in reference to the main lens. In terms of its output, you still get a lot of the really nice color and vibrancy as well. The 8 Lite gets an upgrade over last year's 7 Lite when it comes to performance, because the CPU here is a Snapdragon 6 Gen 4, which means if you were to game on games like Call of Duty Mobile, you get pretty good frame rates and pretty decent quality. The main thing here is there's a reduction in input lag, everything feels nice and balanced, and you can enable other gaming-centric modes on here as well to help boost frame rates and overall graphic performance. On the other aspect of that in the performance is battery life. 7500 milliamp hours, as you mentioned, 66 watts of wired charging. And when we've used this to take photos and videos, including videos in 4K, we hammered this phone, barely lost a couple of percent in terms of usage. It copes extremely well with all of that. The other benefit you have here is that if you were to be out and about and you were to stream video on this, it will last you at least 3 to 4 days alongside music streaming as well. So that is all going to be on a single charge. And when we used it, we kept it at around about 80% brightness. No issue here at all in any way, shape or form. And then let's talk about benchmarks. 3D Mark's Lifestyle Extreme tests here. Stability sits at 99.6%, which is pretty amazing. So there's no throttling here when it comes to its thermals. But the highlight here is, of course, its battery retention. It only dropped 6%. Traditionally, for pretty much every phone we've ever used, it's always double digits into sort of like the mid 13s, 14s, 15% that you lose. Here, it's only 6%. The CPU alongside its battery are great highlight features, but they also are incredible in supporting the OS. And you do get here Android 15 MagicOS 9 out of box with promises of upgrade to OS 10 and Android 16 coming really, really soon. And you benefit for tons of really great AI features. Things like Magic Portal. For example, here you can now highlight an entire text, for example, an address, post that into Google Maps, and instantaneously it will load up right away. Super convenient if you're looking for like a restaurant or a car dealership, or just in general any address you get from a message. You can just shoot that across rather than have to type it in manually. Also, speech to text I think has been significantly improved, because now it picks up very small inflections and puts it across into your on the notes as well, and it's super accurate. Testing this a couple times, it worked incredibly well. And one other really cool feature is if you use this phone to capture live photos, you can then use those live photos in a collage, and it's all built within the gallery app itself. So you can have 4 to 5 to 6 photos in here, all of a collage, and have them all live photos running, and they look really good, and they retain a lot of the quality, and that is all editable as well, which is pretty sick. One of the downsides I did want to mention with these particular phones is there are a lot of preloaded apps on the phone itself. They are predominantly mostly removable, and some you may want to keep for the AI functionality. The display on the 8 Lite is a 6.79 inch OLED display with 120Hz, 6000 nits of peak brightness, and 3840 Hz of PWM dimming, which is great for your eyes, especially at nighttime, which is sick. But the quality of the display is great. Even at full brightness, colors are not washed out in any way. You still retain all the same level and quality. So combining this with a battery, you get a content consumption monster. In fact, it's a multi-day battery use scenario on the Magic 8 Lite if you're a big content consumer. So the 8 Lite, much like pretty much every phone now, has moved away from last year's 7 Lite structure in how it's built with the curved edges to now being a flat frame all over. But it does adopt even more incredible durability because it now is IP69K dust and water resistant, which means if you were to pop this in a sink as we did and pour boiling hot kettle water on here, guess what? Doesn't make a difference. It works absolutely fine. And then you can pull that phone out of its boiling hot water and still use it pretty normally without any issues. So scenarios where you're using this at home or during sunny days, obviously no problem. Brightness of 6000 nits is peak, you'll still see everything clearly. But even in the rain, if you get caught in a rainstorm or a downpour, you're still going to be able to use this phone even when your screen is wet. And then if you were to drop this phone on, say, a hardwood floor or knock it against the table, it's going to have no impact at all on the phone itself. Nothing will make a difference to this phone. It's pretty sick. And the reason that exists is because this uses, and I'm going to have to read this out verbatim, Honor's Ultra Bounce Anti-Drop technology with SGS Triple Resistance Premium Certification. Good God. Essentially what that means is this is an insanely durable phone within your day-to-day usage. So drops from 2+ meters it can handle. It can handle boiling hot water and pressure under things like pressure washers, for example. And day-to-day wise, you're not going to suffer any of those damages within reasons. It can't get run over, of course, that you would get from a normal smartphone. So the Honor Magic 8 Lite, day-to-day wise, is an incredibly durable phone. All in all, the Magic 8 Lite is a pretty good, strong start to 2026 mid-range that's going to be available. And it has a lot of really high quality selling points. Its durability is obviously a slam dunk, but on top of that, you also get insane battery life and a really great display with pretty good performance from its main 108 megapixel sensor. But there are a couple of downsides I want to mention. Android 15 MagicOS 9 out of box is a bit of a shame, but again, as I mentioned, that will be upgraded. But the biggest downside for me personally would be that 5 megapixel ultra wide. That low resolution pixel count does impact the overall camera experience. But if you stick to the main lens, you're going to get a really good camera experience. So the Magic 8 Lite is kicking off 2026 really, really strong and is a really good buy for those who are looking for a phone that will last them a long time for knocks and drops, and probably is going to be one of the best day-to-day use durable phones you can buy right now. But comment your thoughts below on the Magic 8 Lite and its durability. And would you buy this phone in 2026 or would you look elsewhere? Let us know in the comment section below. Until the next one, as always, we out.